Job czar Van Jones steps down amid statements he made in the past. But if you haven't been watching Fox News Channel, you might not have heard about it at all. Why has the mainstream media been ignoring this story? With us this morning is Byron York, chief political correspondent for the Washington Examiner. A question you raised earlier this week, Byron. Why has the mainstream media been missing this story and ignoring it altogether?
Well, this was really an extraordinary demonstration of the divisions inside the mainstream media. In the last few weeks, we learned that Jones had been a supporter of these so-called 9/11 truthers. We learned that he had been a communist through much of the 1990s. We learned that he was a supporter of Mumia Abu-Jamal, the cop killer. We learned a whole lot of things about him. And Fox News, and I think Glenn Beck took a leading role in this, reported this over and over and over. A number of bloggers on the right looked through Jones's past and discovered some of these things. And yet, as of Friday, when the story was really picking up steam, it had not been reported at all in the New York Times, the Washington Post, and the evening newscast of ABC, CBS, and NBC.
Now, so for those of our viewers who think maybe we're just glancing over this, no, there was zero. There was zero coverage. Zero mentions on their newscasts, zero mentions in their newspapers. That is, of course, until this morning when the story broke. I'll tell you what, now Van Jones has resigned, and this was a quote from his resignation letter. On the eve of historic fights for health care and clean energy, opponents of reform have mounted a vicious smear campaign against me. They're using lies and distortion to distract and divide. I cannot in good conscience ask my colleagues to expend precious time and energy defending or explaining my past. Well, so lies and distortions, we've been showing video. The right has been showing video. Right-wing blogosphere has been showing video. Glenn Beck has been showing actual sound bites from the man. How is that a distortion, Byron?
Well, it's not. I mean, if you could argue somehow that they were taken out of context, perhaps there would be a point. But a lot of this stuff is on video in its entirety on the Internet, so people have been able to look at it. Jones in his letter also said that he'd been urged by many people to stand and fight. And I do think that there is a sense, certainly among the president's supporters and perhaps among some in the media, that to have Jones resign would be to hand Fox News or Glenn Beck a victory, and they really didn't want to do that. On the other hand, Jones's past was so unsavory that it's true the White House did not want that to become a bigger news story as the president heads into the joint address to Congress on health care and all the other stuff that's going to be happening in September.
Yeah, I just can't believe the mainstream media hasn't been following this. And is it a victory, though, against hypocrisy? I mean, Nancy Pelosi herself said that she wanted to drain the swamp of all of these problems in Washington. Calling out attention to this is responsible journalism, is it not?
Well, what it shows is that the old hierarchy, the old Washington Post, New York Times, network newscast hierarchy cannot keep a story down. They can't ignore a story and make sure that people don't learn it. People will find out from other means, from Fox, from the Internet, from talk radio. They will find out what's going on.
Yeah, this is not 1950 anymore. Byron York, thanks so much for joining us this morning on this holiday weekend. We appreciate it.
Good to be here.